Hello everybody, welcome to another charting session here on the channel. Today is April 8th. I took 0 trades today, and the reason why was because starting off with this morning, if I go into replay mode, it's like looking at like around here. I had a bias that was sort of bullish because we came down, we swept these lows, had strong push up. But we were kind of going pretty slowly. It was the overnight session though, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, my bias was pretty bullish. I didn't want to enter any trades though, because first of all, we were in premium of this range. I don't want to long in a premium. And yeah, so we ended up not taking this high, and we just sold off to sweep this low. And I'm going to explain all why this happened a little later. But came back up, got this external sweep, internal sweep, sold back off again. So the reason I didn't really trade today is because, one, we were in this range. Two, it's a no news Monday. We got this orange folder news, but that's really not going to do anything. And then it was also the solar eclipse. So I kind of feel like, I just feel like price wouldn't really be efficient with a huge event like that in the world. So first of all, I want to kind of explain where we are in the chart. So we had taken, did we take this out? Let me see. I think we did. Yep. So we came, we swept this low on probably a news wick. Yeah, 8:30. And then we sort of got a push up, and we're now into premium. Okay. So this range is sort of hopping between premium and discount. And here's what I'm thinking. So there's two things that could happen. One, we are going to push up and take this buy side out, and that could sort of be the manipulation of this consolidation, and then we could distribute back lower. Or this setup, which surprisingly has not happened today, is where we're going to head all the way down to this low, tap discount, reach maybe this, this is going to enter into the standard deviation range, and then that will be the manipulation stacked with these PD arrays of the, especially us being a discount, and then we may pump up and possibly come up to this level, maybe reach this level right here, probably take out this liquidity, maybe even go all the way up to these daily highs that's been resting up here. So that's kind of the two different things that could happen. And with that in mind, you can't really formulate a good bias if you're stuck in a range. So second of all, I want to sort of explain what manipulation really is. So I know it's something that a lot of people probably do struggle with. I struggled with it a little bit. There is manipulation like everywhere, but there's different types of manipulation, if that makes sense. So let's just do this range, for example, right? So as you can see, we had this low put in, and we had this high put in. This was on the same move, and it was sort of the biggest, most volatile move. Second off, it's sort of like a sign that we're going to retrace because we had tapped into this area. As you can see, the body's respected the 2 to 2.5 of this manipulation leg that I'll talk about in a second. And what we have to do here is retrace to discount of this leg. Now, there's different rules on it. You can either retrace to discount, which would, well, let me discount. So here would be discount. You'd have to only find higher if you tap into here, which does look like we kind of try to respect this. Or you want to just go into, yeah, I took the right thing. Okay. You just want to go into this 1.5, this 1 to 1.5 area. Right, that could be your possible retrace. And I think, honestly, I'm going to just start going by this 1 to 1.5 area because I've seen some pretty good success rate with it. And secondly, you don't really have to have such a far pullback. It can just go into here. And what's the point of there being a 1.5 if I would not use it? Like, that's kind of how standard deviation is. So I think I should just try to respect what's on it. So this was the range that was created right here. And there was a couple things to note. So on this 5 minute, we had this 5 minute right here. So that could be something that could be stopping us from taking these lows because we want to keep respecting off this 5 minute. But as you can see here, we come down and we make this low. Now, what's going to happen with a manipulation, especially if you're in a accumulative model, which is this right here, just accumulation. What would happen is you're going to get a manipulation leg to sweep a low, and most likely it's going to be strong candles that are going to come and sweep below. And after that low is swept, sorry, you're going to see it come back up and take out a high. So it's going to, or take out the low. So it's going to manipulate one side of liquidity, and then it's going to come back and take out the other side of liquidity. So if it takes out sell side liquidity, it's going to come back up to take out buy side. And there's some great examples of this in here. And it's sort of hard to trade in a market condition like that because we're scalpers. So it can be good and it can be bad. Lately it's been happening a lot, but there is models that can sort of get you to learn that. So, yeah, so let's first find an example. So as you can see, we come down, create this low. We don't sweep this low. We don't sweep this low here. We come up, and here's the first example. Now, one thing I will add on, when that manipulation leg happens and you get your first sweep of liquidity, it's not guaranteed that the other side liquidity is going to be swept. But price is going to want to be drawn towards that side, or it's going to have like just a move towards that side in general, which you can get a decent amount of points off of. So right here is your first sweep. We come up and the body is above it, but that's fine. This is still sort of a sweep because we ended up closing down here. And it's a down close candle, right? On a buy side sweep. So this is your first sweep. And what price will usually do right after it takes the sweep is it will want to head lower. And what you can make sure of is that it will head to discount of this previous leg. So here is discount. We could line it up here. Your target would be discount. So it would be a really small trade, but let's say you could enter like either if you just can recognize that this is a sweep or this candle closes, you could enter, maybe put the stop at this body. But most likely this high is a protected stop. That would kind of suck because it's sort of a loose stop loss, right? But let's say you did enter right here. You would have to put on very low size because your stop would be, how many points is this? This thing only doesn't work when I wanted to. Okay, 43 points. That's a terrible stop. 172 ticks. So your target though would probably be 50%. So yeah, look at this risk to reward. This would not be a really good trade to take. But I mean, you could just lessen your risk. Maybe you could put it to the top of this candle, and that'd be a much better risk to reward trade. So sort of just identifying what you want to do personally, because there's many different things you can do. So as you can see, we have this wick right here. This is a protected one. This is a protected stop. The reason I say that is because if we are going to go up to here, which will not likely happen, but if we go up to here, it cancels all shorts unless, you know, it is going to be another sweep, so it might not. But if we're going to head out lower right away, we're not going to want to come back and sweep this. So, yeah. So next, let's take this off. We look for more sweeps. So here's not a sweep, right? It was close to one. It's sort of a sweep of this, but not really considered one. But we do have a really good sweep right here. And another thing to note with all of these sweeps is that every time it happens, there's strong displacement candles down. So if we're sweeping sell side, look at this, strong candles down, and then we slowly work our way back up. And then look, it happens again. We have this low created. It gets swept by this. And as you can see right here, those were strong candles down. And this is actually what I drew an SD on right here, because strong candles down. So then we create this low, and we're still holding this 5 minute, but we've swept this. Now, one thing to add is that you want to look at the low that it's sweeping. So if you look at this low, this is part of the move. This is actually the first, or this is not the first, but it's one of the first lows that was in this leg. So what you can expect is you want to look at the leg that just got swept. So this is like an external leg, and right here is the high of this leg. So your target, if you were going to have let runners run on a scalp to the upside here, or sorry, right here, you would want to see this sell side get taken. Or sorry, buy side. But since it's not taken, you know, you would just get stopped out on your runners. But again, it's not going to be guaranteed that it would go to this high, but there's going to be a push up into it. So as you can see, we actually have this range right here, and this would probably be one of your last targets, maybe your first, whatever strategy you're doing. And yeah, so this is the target because it is in this leg as well. So then now we actually go and we just dump back down, take this low out again. And people right here would probably be thinking, oh, well, we just swept these, or sorry, we just swept, actually that's later, hold on, we'll get back to that. So anyways, we get this strong move down. Now, why exactly do we move down? People could think that we are respecting the halfway point on this wick. Now that could be true, which we are, right? We beautifully respected consequent encroachment of this wick, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get a reverse to head lower for the rest of the day. It's just a rejection point. But we could easily come back and swipe out all of that. So right here, we get this move down, and this is just a manipulation leg to take out this low that we just took. Now, after this happens, this would be your best opportunity to long. Out of all of this setup, this would probably be the most probable. The reason why is because we swept this low, right? Then after that, we also have a very small internal sweep. So this really doesn't really have much to say because it's just one candle. I do want to check ES though. I want to see something real quick. Yeah, okay. This is actually really good. So if we go back to this 5 minute, you can see we created an SMT with NQ and ES, right? Here is the SMT right here. And that is showing bullish. So in addition to that, we also have this second sweep and another SMT. So even though it's on the 1 minute, it's actually going to be a pretty powerful SMT, especially because it combines with the previous SMTs. So it's sort of just like a double soup here. So right after that, we get a strong push up. Now, whenever you have a move like this, whenever it's a turtle soup entry, if you have strong displacement candles up and you create more than one fair value gap, you may be thinking, which one do I take? So my recommendation, this is the most highly probable thing that happens, is that your first candle that you tap into, your first fair value gap I meant, the first fair value gap you tap into, which was this one right here, is usually going to be the one that's going to get respected. So here's that right there. And then was your first entry you could have taken. Your real first entry could have just been if you got a up close candle right here. Once you close, you could take your first entry in. But here is sort of respecting this 1 minute for value gap. Respecting is a very clear sign that we are bullish and a clear sign that this model is playing out. So then here you can look for a second entry. Now this will not go into the first fair value gap that you see because that's sort of just on the first entry or your confirmation entry. This is what I like to call the confirmation entry because this is the entry that gives you confirmation. And then third entry, I guess you could call it like a post confirmation entry if you want to do that. I don't really I don't think about it like that though. So right here we had a sweep, and I want to see, was there any SMTs? So is this an SMT? No, I don't think there were many SMTs today, to be honest. Yeah, is there any in the top here? Yeah, there's one right here, which probably did push price down to here. But so now there's a couple things to notice. You're in your entry. How do you know when to take profits? So you could either think about this at a higher time frame, which I don't recommend you do because you took it on a smaller time frame. So don't go to a higher time frame to try to find out where this trade's going to go. That's not very smart. But it would be more like this. Let's say this is your manipulation leg, because this is what came down, strong candles to sweep below. You put it at the top, right? Last up close candle here, just put it at the top of the sort of dip high, and then, or peak high. So then you're going to put in standard deviation, and this is sort of the targets for that. But that's on a bigger time frame. That's off of, like, I guess you could say the 15-minute time frame. Right, so if this was a play out, here would be your 15-minute for value gap, or inverse for value gap, and this is what you would tap into to respect, although we may not do that now because we just may not. But let me actually go down. I think we just did this. So after you come up here, you could see we ended up sweeping out this buy side right here, and then after we swept that buy side, we had an internal sweep, which I don't think there was an SMT here either. Oh, well, actually there was. Wow, okay, wait. Yeah. So, additionally, right here we had an SMT. I'm surprised I didn't see this today. But, here's your SMT. So, here's your external sweep. Right after that happens, we get this dip down, tapping into this for value gap, and then we come back up. Here is your internal sweep, and I don't think the external sweep had a, yeah, so this external sweep, well, sort of did, but here we actually have two here. We got this as well. So we have two SMTs right here. But yeah, we swept price again. Here's the internal sweep. Now here we go down. So this would probably be stopped out for me if I was to take this entry, because you would take the first for value gap that you get, and you want to first displace through a low. Down here, did we displace through a low or high? Yeah. So up here we came up. We don't have to displace, but you want to take it out. So here we came up. We actually closed above, which is good. Came back down. So this was the high that we had to go over. This high, or maybe even this high. But if you go to here, we had to take out a previous low, which was this low. So we came down, took it out. We come back up. But if I was taking this entry, I probably would not take. I don't know, because this right here would be my stop loss, because it's at the top of the candle that created the fair value gap. I don't think I'd want to go up here because there's a possible chance we could manipulate higher up here. There's no really confirmation that we're going down until we respect this. So even though the candles closed above here, this is still respect because we did not open a new candle above. So now we got displaced through this low and this low. Now, whenever you displace through a low, it's kind of good to do two things. One, you could think of this as unicorn. This is a breaker because it's a low that gets displaced through. And so this could be a breaker, but it would not tap the breaker. Where's breaker? There we go. So not tap the breaker, but it did tap this for value gap. So breaker plus for value gap. That's kind of what unicorn entry is. You go into this for value gap. And why would you go into this for value gap, but not this one? Well, the reason why is because, like I said, I said it was first for value gap, but that was for this entry. So for this entry, for your first entry, your confirmation entry, it's the first for value gap that you tap into. But this second one, second entry, doesn't have to be the first fair value gap. It should be a fair value gap that's in discount. So price will want to go to discount first. Now, even though it could go to this fair value gap in discount, you could also additionally put OTE. As you can see right here, we do go into this OTE range. So then we headed down lower, right? You could trim like on these order blocks. Order blocks, you know, usually show a sign of support or resistance. So for example, what happens at this order block? We bounce off and we sort of create another order block here. So here's your first order block. You can sort of see the reactions here. Here's your second order block. And I do these by the bodies, by the way, because I feel they're more effective. So here's that. You get another sort of a bounce up. And then you also tap against this order block again. Sell off down. And we got another order block right here. As you can see, this is used as support. And it's also used as resistance once it gets broken through. So that kind of shows you, like, while you're in a trade or when you're trimming and stuff or adding on, you can sort of use order blocks on a big move like this to help you out with that. So now we have a bunch of engineered sell side liquidity. We're probably going to take it out, but we've gone pretty close to this 2.5 area. So I think we probably will get one more run down to go to there. Maybe in the overnight session. Wait, I'm still in replay. Hold on. We got to continue this out. All right, we tapped into here. So now I'd expect from here, we're probably going to go up a little bit because we should probably go to this area, which we already have. But I do think we're going to go pretty much higher, just a little bit higher. So here's the rebalance. We've tapped into this one area. I don't know if we tapped into discount yet. Oh yeah, we did. We just tapped into discount. So now that we've tapped into discount, I would want to see us, or sorry, we tapped into premium for a sell model. I'd want to see us possibly sell off. But we may sweep this and create soup. Again, by the way, guys, soup does not mean, soup does not have to have a, an SMT in it. But I just really like to call that soup because it makes a much higher probability. So here's your sweep. Let's see what happens now. So if I was looking for a setup to the downside, we'd have this. Nothing really clear here. No fair value gaps to go into. I like to look for fair value gaps on this kind of stuff. Something that would be pretty cool would be for there to be soup of these highs. So from this high to here, nope, there's no soup. None of them took the high. But we go down. Do we creating for value gaps? Yeah. So right here, I'd say this is probably, if we would have a efficient price action when we don't, I think this low should get taken. So the reason why, again, no fair value gaps in this move. We come back up. And then number one, we disrespect this bullish fair value gap. Number two, we respect this fair value gap right here. And we respect this one right here. And this one right here. So draw liquidity is obviously lower. If you were to hold into your trade, you'd probably get stopped out. But yeah, price was just not very efficient. Plus, this was at sort of near market close. But also, this is also showing me that we may just be creating more sell side to possibly hunt, which would be really, really good. So let's see how these final, I guess this actually goes for a while still. Yeah, so we're just still in this very long range from this high to this low. And that's where we are now. So yeah, not really too much going on. This chart just looks so ugly. We just haven't gone anywhere. We've just been going up and down, especially like just all of this. What is this? Right? But yeah, let's go to the 15-minute. This is what we're looking at here. This is just disgusting, especially on a 15-minute chart. But I do think we have created a lot of sell side here. So in the morning, I'm going to honestly guess pre-market. Let's see what news we have tomorrow. We do not have any pre-market news. We only have 10 p.m. news. So it's basically a no red flutter day. But it is possible if we keep selling off in the night session and then possibly sell off to take this low, or we probably will sell off down to here. But if we do, we may get a morning pump back up to rebalance and then possibly head lower. So we'll see what happens. Still don't have a bias. I'm not going to have a bias until we get out of this range. But yeah, I kind of gave over a little overview, sort of just what's going on with price and manipulation. When we are in a range like this, there's going to be a lot of manipulation, and that's why it's important to identify it. So just like to quickly go over again, identifying the manipulation, there's a lot of it, right? We have manipulation right here because it takes out this low, strong candles, and then let's say we did standard deviation from here to here. SD marks it out to there. But the only thing about this, I don't want to use standard deviation if we come back and we take out the low again. Since we take out the low again, I feel like that sort of changes. So this would really be the manipulation leg because it took out this. So this would actually not be it anymore because we just took it out again here. But I'm not really sure how that works. I got to do some more research on that. All right, yeah. So, yeah, that was sort of today's action. Going on to the daily here, I want to look at sort of what things are looking at here. So, we, if I take off this, just got pretty dark in my room. We take off this, you can see that we're sort of in this bullish thing right here, but also we're not really creating a bear yet. On the daily, these candle structure is bullish, but yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, it is possible we could just keep heading up here to create another sell side, engineered sell side level. I just hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, so that's all I really have for tonight's charting session. I hope we went over quite a bit, and there's actually people out there that are watching this. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.